So the 97th Academy Awards is this Sunday. It's coming Sunday depending on when you're watching this. The Oscars, this is the NBA Finals, the Super Bowl, whatever major sport finale that you could talk about. The WrestleMania for cinephiles, movie lovers, and even casual movie lovers to see our favorite films combat against each other. You know, a lot of people say awards don't matter, but they do. People get mad all the time when their favorite film loses out. And it's been recently, they've been talking about how Academy voters haven't been watching a lot of all the films that have been coming out that they're supposed to be voting for, specifically Doom Part 2. A lot of people saying they're not finishing it. The Brutalist, which is 3 hours and 35 minutes, they're not finishing it. And it's very, very disappointing because you should take that very seriously, because not only is it important to us as cinephiles, but this also changes people's lives. People get more opportunities when they win awards or they're nominated or they're taken seriously. So when these people who are deemed the high elite in terms of film don't take it seriously, it hurts. So here today in this video, I'm going to show you each category that if I got to vote in the Oscars, if I was an Academy member, which one I would choose based on just the films that I liked in terms of, I think, cultural impact and just that I personally enjoyed, I think deserve, and I'll give you the reasons. Because unlike these Oscar voters, I watched these movies, except the documentary shorts and the short films, and I didn't watch those, so I'm gonna be skipping those. But let's start out with the first one, and that's writing original screenplay. Anora is in this one, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5, and The Substance. I think that this is a very strong category overall. I think for me, I would give it to The Substance.
People are gonna love that.
I think that movie is written really well in terms of how it handles the dialogue, the subject matter. It's a little bit more in your face than these other movies in terms of its message, but it's written in a way that keeps you consistently engaged, not repeating dialogue and things like that over and over, so it feels repetitive, and it gives the characters a lot of life. And I think it's the most fun screenplay out of all these. I think September 5th is a film that feels very, very safe, even though it's solid. A Real Pain is really, really strong, and if I like that movie more, it probably would be the one that I would pick. But I think that might be the winner. They might pick the dark horse here. And I think Honora's writing is a little wonky a little bit in terms of how they pace things, in terms of how that movie is written. I think specifically the beginning of the film and then kind of towards the beginning of the third act when they're kind of like running around. I think that could have been tightened up and written better. And The Brutalist is written really well as well, but there's certain aspects of that film and certain dialogue choices that kind of brings it down for me. So I think The Substance would be my pick. That's what I would vote for if I was an Oscar winner. I just love The Substance. That's my favorite movie on the list here. And yeah, Coraline Fargay, you did a great job directing and writing that. Now we're going to be talking about writing adapt screenplay. I think that this one is not as strong as original screenplay because they have certain films like Amelia Perez in here, which I think is a film that is not written well at all and is below a telenovela in terms of the writing, and it's very offensive.
It's trash.
And you know, I haven't really talked about Amelia Perez on the channel that much, which I wish I had because it was such a bad film. But other films here that are like a complete unknown, I think that movie is written really, really safely. It's solid, but it doesn't like stand out to me. I think Conclave personally would be my pick. I think Conclave is a film that the writing is his strength. Obviously the acting is his strength as well. There's so many great performances, but the writing of the film brings those great performances out there with the dialogue, the pacing in terms of what's supposed to be happening on the screen. I think they did a phenomenal job writing that film. The writing is the highlight of the movie and what's happening. They made something that could be absolutely boring, it's probably boring in real life, seem like a thriller.
Everything down to the last minute details.
Nickel Boys, I think that it's written good. I don't think that's the highlight of that movie. I think it's the performances, the cinematography, the first person POV. I don't think the writing is the writing of the screenplay is the highlight of there, but it's still worthy of a nomination. And then Sing Sing, I think if Conclave wasn't my pick, I think Sing Sing would be my pick. I really, really like the way that movie was set up and the momentum the film had, even though it was very quiet. And it feels slow, but it's not slow in a way where you're bored. But yeah, Conclave is my pick. My backup pick would be Sing Sing. In terms of visual effects, I think this is a lock for Doom Part 2. This is the best looking movie on this list. It's also one of the best sci-fi looking movies we've had in a long time. One of the best looking sci-fi films. I think that there's not really anything here other than maybe like A Better Man and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, because the way those apes look, and you know, this has been the year of the apes with so many ape movies doing well. We just got a monkey movie looking phenomenal, looking so lifelike, but from the sandworms to all the tech that they use to all the different aspects that this film executes and make it feel like real life, I feel like Dune Part 2 is a lot to win visual effects for me and for a lot of voters, even the people who didn't see it or didn't see all of it. I think that enough people probably saw it for them to know that Dune Part 2 should win Best Visual Effects. If I had to go with a backup, I think A Better Man should win, because even though the apes in the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes look fantastic, I think what they did with A Better Man and that ape, how lifelike he looks, I think that would get it if Dune Part 2 wasn't the runaway winner. But this is a strong category overall, highlighting even like Wicked, which I didn't think looked that great in terms of like cinematography and stuff like that. I think the VFX looks really, really strong. There's a lot of aspects of that film that looks really, really good VFX wise. There's some wonky stuff, but like the goat looked amazing. All the animals looked amazing. Some of the backgrounds look really great in terms of the VFX. So I'm glad that it got on there for that, at least. Now, when it comes to sound, I think this is a little bit of a weaker category. Something like Civil War should have probably been on here instead of A Complete Unknown, and Amelia Perez probably shouldn't have been on here either. I'm always going to kick Amelia Perez out of every category. But in terms of sound, I'm going to also give this a Dune Part 2. I think on a technical level, I think Dune Part 2 should probably sweep all the awards that it's in, because it's a technical marvel. The movie looks fantastic and the sound is a big reason for that. It helps the atmosphere of the film and gets you engrossed. Amelia Perez is just a mess sonically. Wicked, yeah, that's a great musical in terms of the singing and how they use sound. Wicked is really good, and the Wow Robot sound is amazing as well, but I would give it to Dune Part 2. Now, when we come to production design, this is probably one of the most stacked categories on this list. The Brutalists. It's all about production design. The movie's literally about building buildings and in the Brutalist style and architecture and things like that. And it has some amazing sequences in terms of showing the buildings and how they use the production design to tell the story. Just that picture that keeps going around of Guy Pearce down at the bottom and Adrian Brody is on top of the dirt pile, and that's signifying the power dynamics at that moment, I think is amazing. And some of the way the architecture is done is amazing. I'm glad that they said that that wasn't made by AI. Conclave is a production design marvel, because not only does it look great, but they didn't get to take pictures inside of the chapel because you're not allowed to do that. So they literally just did this from like going in there and looking at it and from memory and making it look almost exactly like how the inside of it looks. So I think that is amazing, and it helps set the tone for the movie as well. Dune Part 2's production design is fantastic as well. Nosferatu, though, I think Nosferatu's production design, I was going to pick Dune or maybe even Conclave, but I think Nosferatu deserves production design. This is the one technical aspect that I think Dune loses out on, because Nosferatu's just production design is so much of its story, right? Like Nosferatu's castle being a living, breathing extension of himself is used in such a unique way, like no other movie in this category, right? Like Wicked's production design is solid, but I don't think the blocking was used really well all the time. But Nosferatu is my pick. If I was an Oscar voter, which movie I would pick? Nosferatu. It just looks amazing. It really throws you into the atmosphere and that time period that Robert Eggers was capturing, and the fact that they use it so well to tell a story. It was just amazing. That whole like 15-minute section of Nicholas Hoult just being in that castle and everything they did with that just won it for me. The next up is music original song. This is a weak category for me, honestly. I think the 688 is a movie that is okay, and the music was okay. I think the songs in Amelia Perez were not good. So the fact that they're here is laughable to me.
It's definitely a no for me, dog.
Like a Bird was solid from Sing Sing, and Never Too Late for the Elton John song. Don't even really remember it. So personally for me, None of these stand out super strong, but I would give it to Sing Sing Like a Bird. I think that is the best song here that I would like to listen to again. So that would be my choice if I was voting. None of the Amelia Perez songs definitely would not. The Amelia Perez songs are so bad that they are not doing performances of the original songs because they do not want to put that on screen for people to be like, whoa, what the hell are they even saying? Music original score. So this one is a little weaker because it doesn't have challengers in here, which is probably one of the best scores. Also Queer, which is both Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor doing those scores. They don't have those movies in here. Fortunately, Dune 2 was disqualified. That definitely should have been in here. And there's probably some horror movies scores that probably should have been here, but you know, horror movies are always not getting the just due. The Substance probably should have been in here as well. But in terms of what's here so far, the Brutalist score is really, really good. It has like an iconic theme that I really love that feels inspirational. Conclave has a solid score as well. It has that one song that's really, really good. Amelia Perez, I can't even remember anything of the score because it just felt like it was tied into the music and the music wasn't good. Wicked, the score, I don't want to say is like outstanding. I think the songs are great, but I don't really remember the actual score to everything. But my pick for this actually will be The Wild Robot. I think it has the most varied score and has the most powerful score. That movie score swept you up into the film in tons of emotions. Every single emotion that they want you to feel, the movie got you in it. And I think The Wild Robot should win. I think animated films are underlooked or overlooked, when I should say, when it comes to getting nominations in multiple categories, and I think The Wild Robot should get this. Best makeup and hairstyling, we have A Different Man, which has phenomenal makeup and hairstyling. Amelia Perez, which, you know what, I'll give it this. I think that what they did, Carla Sofia Gascon, and when they had her be the man, and what they did there, I didn't realize that wasn't a different person at first, and until I looked later, like, oh, that was her in makeup. They did a really good job with that, so that was fantastic. Everybody looked really good in the film, so that it deserves that nomination.
Wow, thanks, Spider-Man.
Everybody gets one. Tell him, Peter.
Apparently everybody gets one.
Bingo.
Nosferatu, absolutely amazing. The Substance, and Wicked. All of these are well deserving to be in this category. This is very, very strong, but for me, this is the Substance category to lose. I think the makeup and hairstyling is everything, right? In this film, it's right in your face. It puts you in an era of Hollywood that's long and gone, and you can feel it in terms of how Margaret Qualley's character looks when she's doing her performances. It feels like the 80s and early 2000s when people were still looking up to people who did exercises on TV, or even later on when they start deteriorating how the makeup and hairstyling looks. It makes the movie, it's everything. It's the best one out of here. I think Wicked looks great. I think Nosferatu, like I said, looks great. And Amelia Perez, Different Man, would be my runner-up, honestly. But The Substance definitely should win this one because of Monstro, Mary Sue, or Ella Sue, or whatever her name was. At the end, just that alone, just that sequence at the end deserves to make it win makeup and hairstyling. When it comes to best international film, this category I feel like I'm not an expert in. Seed of the Sacred Fig wasn't really available for me to check out. The Girl with the Needle also as well. So I've seen Flow, I've seen Amelia Perez, and I'm Still Here. And out of these, I think Amelia Perez is not a great film, so that's definitely not. I love Flow, and I thought I'm Still Here was incredible. I'm going to give it to I'm Still Here. Even though I love Flow, I think Brazil deserves this win. I think that Fernanda Torres was phenomenal in the film, and I think she definitely deserves this opportunity to win this. It was well deserving to be in the Best Picture category as well. And I think Amelia Perez was a lock for this before, but I think because of all the controversy, I think it will give a chance for I'm Still Here to win, and I think it deserves to win as well. That's what I would, that vote would go for me. If not I'm Still Here, it would go to Flow. Now when it comes to film editing, this is another strong one. Nora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, and Wicked. We have two musicals in here. Editing musicals is a hard thing, and I'll give Amelia Perez editor a good job in terms of the choreography and the dancing. Put together really, really well. The songs might not be great, the story might not be great, but the editing in terms of the sequences were put together really well. Same thing for Wicked, even on a higher level, because that's the highlight of the film. Conclave is edited really well, because the pacing of that film could have felt sluggish, but it's paced really well so you don't feel sluggish. And the scenes that they used was really, really great. I think The Brutalist and Honora probably shouldn't be in these categories. I think The Brutalist is just not edited down enough. There's certain scenes that just keep going on and on and on and on, and should have been cut short. This movie didn't need to be 3 hours and 35 minutes. Could have been a cool 3 hours. 35 minutes of that movie probably could have been cut down if they would have shortened some scenes and moved on. And I feel the same way about Nora. I think the beginning takes a little too long to get going, and I think towards the middle, in the beginning of the third act, where they're chasing after the young oligarch and trying to find where he is, I think that goes on for too long, and that could have been tightened up. So I think with those two films, it's just about those could have been tightened up better. So out of these films, I'm honestly going to give it to Wicked. I think that movie is edited really, really, really well in terms of the musical sequences, the action sequences, the way the movie puts together just the conversations and the dance sequences. I think that Wicked deserves it. Conclave is a close second, but I would give it to Wicked. Now you talk about costume design. This is also a strong category. A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2. Glad that I got nominated because they looked great in that film. Nosferatu and Wicked. I think this is Wicked's category to lose. I think Wicked should win this one. The costume designs were phenomenal. It puts you right into that magical world. It looked appropriate. It looked great. It made the movie pop in terms of color and how the characters looked. I can remember who was who based on the costume, and I think that's really perfect with costume design. Obviously in Conclave, the popes look fly. Every time I see that picture, it looks like it should be an album cover for a rap album, maybe a Christian rap album. And Gladiator 2 looked really, really great. It probably could have looked a little bit more detailed. That's why it's holding it back. Nosferatu's costume design is phenomenal as well. Just like everything else in that movie, it throws you right into that time period. And A Complete Unknown's costume design is solid, but I don't think it's super memorable or outstanding that you remember a particular thing that they were wearing in that film. So I'm definitely going to give this out to Wicked. I think, like I said, I think this is Wicked's award to lose, similar to other ones like editing and other things that they got. And I think that Dune Part 2 probably should have been in here. I think Dune Part 2 should have probably been in editing as well. It should have been in all these categories, honestly, but Wicked definitely gets costume design. Now we're talking about cinematography. We got The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, somehow Emilia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu. This is really hard because Greg Fraser's Dune Part 2, I was like immediately yes, but The Brutalist is a gorgeous film, and it really helps you get into the time period that this movie is also depicting, and no other movie kind of looks like this throughout 2024. Maria is absolutely gorgeous as well, and Nosferatu cinematography is chef's kiss. But for me, it's really between Dune and Nosferatu, but I'm gonna have to give it to Dune Part 2. I think it's consistently mind-blowing how good that movie looks, and the things that they do to really depict the dryness of the area that they're in, the heat of the battle. That opening sequence was absolutely amazing. The ending sequence amazing. There's so many amazing looking sequences. What they did with the Harkonnen land with the infrared when they go to their world is amazing, and I think that is what really puts it over Nosferatu. The fact that it has that varied cinematography, and they did something I've never seen before. If they didn't do that, then I probably would have been tied with Nosferatu, but that edges it a little bit. But yeah, Dune Part 2 is what I would give my vote for. Nosferatu would have been second.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Okay, actress in a supporting role. This was not super strong for me. I think Monica Barbaro was really, really strong. I was shocked that she got in, but she was really, really strong in A Complete Unknown. Ariana Grande was phenomenal in Wicked. I really love her in that movie. Felicity Jones is, to me, she's like 50-50. There were certain scenes I really liked her in. Some scenes was weird. So I wouldn't have put her in here. Isabella Rossellini felt more like a cameo than a support. I guess she is a supporting role, and more of a supporting role than some of the other actresses in here. But I wouldn't have put her in this category. I think there's other people that probably could have gotten in here. And then Zoe Saldana is the person that's going to win this when it comes to the actual official Oscars. But my personal choice is Ariana Grande. I thought she did the most for her movie. Zoe makes Emilia Perez kind of watchable for a little bit, but then that's when she was the lead. When she actually becomes the supporting character in the film, she doesn't really bring much to it, unfortunately. But Ariana Grande is consistently amazing inside of Wicked. She's so dynamic. I think comedy is so hard and they don't reward it often, and she's very funny in the film and makes the movie pop, and she has such great chemistry with everyone, and just so many iconic things in that film that makes it great, that I would give it to Ariana Grande. Personally, that's who I would vote for. Now, when it comes to actress in the leading role, this is actually a stacked category with Cynthia Erivo from Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez, Mikey Madison for Nora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. These are really great performances. Even though I don't like Emilia Perez, I think Carla Sofia Gascon was really good for most of the film. Mikey Madison is phenomenal and she's been racking up wins. Cynthia Erivo feels like she doesn't have a chance. She hasn't really won anything, but it's cool that she's nominated. I think she was really the emotional center for that film. Mikey Madison, Demi Moore. This is a career performance that she had here. The movie doesn't work without her giving such a great performance. I've heard certain people say, oh, the movie did the work for her. I'm like, no, she did a fantastic job throughout the movie, especially with that fight where she has with Margaret Qualley. Like her facial expressions and everything she did there, phenomenal. And Fernanda Torres is a powerhouse, and I'm Still Here. So for me personally, I would vote for Demi Moore. I think she does such a great job with that movie. A lot of people point to Margaret Qualley. I think Demi Moore does just as good or more to make that movie work, and I think she deserves the award. My runner-up would probably be Mikey Madison because she carries that movie. Actor in a supporting role, this is Yuri Borisov from Anora. I'm really glad that he got nominated because he was so good in Anora. Kieran Culkin in Real Pain, who's a runaway. He's been winning everywhere, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna win this on Sunday. Edward Norton, who feels like he's kind of been forgotten, but from a complete unknown. Guy Pearce from The Brutalist, who was really good in that movie. He was great, honestly. But my pick for actor in supporting role, who I would vote for, and I know he's not gonna win, is Jeremy Strong in The Apprentice. He was phenomenal in this film as the devil on the shoulder of Trump and Sebastian Stan's character. In this movie, I think he did the most to having this like variety of emotions. I think Kieran Culkin was kind of playing himself in the film, and I know he feels offended by that. I've seen him talk about that, but it does feel like it. Like the character that he was playing in there feels like the same person that's doing these interviews. So he was great in it, but I just feel like Jeremy Strong deserves it. I think he did such a phenomenal job in that movie, and he has this scene that's such a gut punch in the film, and everything he has to depict in the film is just heavy and a heavy toll as a performer, and this being such an evil person but still finding a way to be sympathetic is hard, and he did a great job there. Actor in a leading role, we got Adrian Brody from The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet from A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes Conclave, Sebastian Stan The Apprentice. This is also another stat category here. Everybody here gave a great performance. Honestly, I would have voted for Timothy Chalamet in Dune over A Complete Unknown, but he was really great as depicting Bob Dylan. Coleman Domingo is phenomenal. Ray Fiennes is phenomenal, and it's been in it a long time, never winning. Adrian Brody, of course, won before, but he's great in The Brutalists. But my pick here, and I know I just gave The Apprentice some love, I'm going to give it to Sebastian Stan. I think in terms of, we have two people embodying people here. Timothy Chalamet embodying Bob Dylan, and Sebastian Stan embodying Donald Trump. I think that Timothy Chalamet did a great job embodying the mysteriousness of Bob Dylan and the aloofness of that character. But unfortunately, I think he was so aloof, it doesn't bring you into the actual character or the person. He's not a character, the person himself. But I think that Sebastian Stan did such a great job of depicting Donald Trump and humanizing him in a way where I felt sympathetic of a character or a person. I keep saying characters, but these real life person who seems like a monster on TV and doesn't feel like a real tangible human being. Like when the TV turned off, he doesn't feel like he actually exists. But he validated his existence here, where he is a human being and he was molded and crafted into what we see today. And Sebastian Stan did a really great job of depicting that. Not going into a direction where he could have been like a parody of him. He didn't try to do his accent, or he didn't do like the way he talks in like an exaggerated way like they do in SNL, but he did just enough where you're like, yeah, that's Donald Trump. while bringing a lot of different nuances to the character. I think Sebastian did a phenomenal job. I think he had the best performance of the year in this and A Different Man, and I would vote for Sebastian in The Apprentice. Now directing, this is a Nora for Sean Baker, who probably is going to win. He's been racking up. I think he won at the DGA. I think it's for him to lose. Brady Corbett, The Brutalist, James Mangold, The Complete Unknown, Jacques Ardard for Amelia Perez, oh my god, and Corey Farge for The Substance. First of all, I just got to get this out of the way. The fact that Denis Villeneuve is not in this category, but the guy who directed Amelia Perez, who's a bigot, is in here for directing that movie is insane. That movie is not super well directed over in terms of the dramatic aspects. I think the choreo, the dancing is really, really good, but the actual like emotional moments and how they're supposed to come away, it's not great. So I don't think he deserves to be here. But everybody else pretty much deserves to be here. They all did a great job. I probably would have swapped out James Mangold as well, probably for Robert Eggers, and Jacques for Denis. That's my own personal list. I already made my own award show, awarding the people I thought deserved it. But out of the people that is here for Best Director, I would give my vote for Coralie Farge for The Substance. I think that she directed the hell out of that movie. She took some really big swings. The fact that she stood on her 10 toes down in terms of like having that film go butt crazy at the end, because I forgot what movie studio had the rights to this. I'm not 100% sure which one it was, and they sold it to Mubi because she wouldn't change the ending. And she made the right choice. She knew that ending had to happen to really stamp this movie and bring it to the next level and make it a body horror classic. And the confidence she had in the film and the vision is so strong. It's paced really well. It doesn't feel like it's overdrawn. She gets really great performances out of all her actors. She utilizes the set design really well, even though it's not expansive. They're kind of in the same 3 or 4 places over and over again. But she takes homages from other films, but doesn't feel like she's copying them. It's just like, hey, this is what I was inspired by. I'm going to utilize it in my own way. And, just how she zoomed in on Jack Quaid's dad, was Dennis Quaid, eating the stuff and just showing the disgustingness of everyday life. I think that she did a phenomenal job directing The Substance. James Mangold did a solid job with A Complete Unknown. It kind of feels like your everyday biopic, just really, really good. But I don't think there's anything there that makes it stand out as something that needs to be in this category, unfortunately. That's why I said I would swap them out. The Brutalist is such a big undertaking that Brady Corbett definitely deserves to be here, and Honora is such a frantic, insane film that the fact that it feels cohesive, Sean Baker definitely deserves all the love he's getting, but I would give it to Coralie Farge for The Substance. Now we're on to the biggest award of the night. That's Best Picture. And guys, down below, let me know what your choices are, obviously, in the comments. I should have been saying that after each time. Let me know what you would vote. If you were an Oscar voter and you've seen these movies, what would you vote for? And any of the categories I skipped, if you did, let me know about those as well. But for Best Picture, we got Honora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez. I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. All movies that I think is well deserving. This is not my 10 best movies of the year. A lot of these actually are not in it. I think only 2 are in my top 10. But my winner is Dune Part 2. I think it's the best movie of the year. I think it's one of the best movies we've gotten in a decade. I think it's far above all these, unfortunately. And I think it's well deserving. It makes me sad that it has no chance at all at winning any of the categories it's in. It feels like it got nominated because it should, but it's not gonna be a movie that wins a lot. And I think Dune Part 2 is the best movie here. I think Honora is probably gonna win, just because I feel like The Brutalist has lost some steam, and I think the AI controversy has hurt in some of the eyes of the Academy, especially since a lot of them are fighting against AI for the movie to use it in that way, especially a movie about authenticity and architecture. For them to use AI, I feel like it's kind of, I feel like Conclave is a great film. I don't think it's a Best Picture. Same thing with like A Complete Unknown. Amelia Perez is one of the worst movies of the year, so that shouldn't even be here. I don't know what's going on with that.
It's definitely a no for me, dog.
It's trash.
And I'm Still Here deserves it. Nickel Boys is a great film that so many people have not seen, And Wicked wouldn't be in my 10 either, but I get it. It's one of the more culturally relevant films that came out this year that more people have seen. It made like $800 million, and it was a meme phenomenon. It was all these fans ended up getting the thing that they wanted. So I get why that's here. But for me, it's Dune Part 2. Dune Part 2 by far. But yeah, guys, if I was an Oscar voter, if I was a big YouTuber that got to be Critics' Choice and Rotten Tomatoes and got to start voting and was in the film industry and I got my chance to vote, these are the picks that I would have made if I was an Oscar voter. Let me know what your picks in the comments are down below and what you would have picked for each category and what you think will win and what you think should win as well. Let me know all those down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. You can watch more content right now.